Coach, obviously we hadn't talked to you since the road win, but what, I mean, I know it may be hard just to put your finger on one thing, but what's kind of changed with this team since your last loss to San Francisco? Is it more about setting the rotations and having more of a feel there, or is there anything else you can point to?
I've been talking about it for a while that, we have to play the way we have to play. And that's easy to say. It sounds simple, but there's a lot that goes into that. And it took us a while, but that's kind of how it works sometimes, to figure out the style of play that this team needs to embrace to get the most out of who we are. And we've changed quite a bit, especially on the offensive end, from the summer to the fall till we played a handful of games till now. And it's required a lot of unselfishness from a lot of individuals. And it isn't always perfect. And there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. And to me, that would be a reason why we're playing a little better, is because of the buy-in that we're getting from our players in terms of what we're asking them to do, especially on the offensive end.
We'll go down the line, then Sam, Colin, Jacob.
Jabari posted something cryptic on Instagram after the game Saturday. Is everything okay with him and the team right now?
Cryptic?
Yes.
What does that mean?
Some sort of message that was hard to decipher if he's upset about what's going on with the team or playing time, things like that. Or
Yeah, I don't know about the cryptic, but we play a highly intense, emotional game that there's a lot riding on it. And I think as humans, we all think, say, or in this era, post things in the heat of the moment that eventually, we wish we could take back. And, our basketball team is a family. And I don't know about you, but like every family I've been involved with, like stuff happens, especially behind the scenes. And, we just work things out, behind the scenes. But we had, I walked to the gym, I don't know, about an hour ago, and he was down there shooting baskets. So I think we're all good.
Go ahead, Colin.
In terms of the way Texas were able to attack you with Dalen Swain and kind of get into the paint, it seemed like Achor and Sergey both had a lot to deal with. But maybe in Achor it seemed like maybe he had his best game and contributed a lot. What have you seen from the two of them as you've kind of transitioned into SEC play and what they're offering at that position?
Yeah, I think Achor had his best game by far. I don't think attributing their best game, or Achor's best game would be how well they did guarding Swain, because that wasn't why he had his best game. We had fits with him, and I said in the post game in Austin that was a big turning point on why we won the game is he fouled out, because he was obviously giving us major problems. But Sergey, has been a lot more consistent. That's one of the reasons I think that we played better, was his consistency. And basically, I think everybody that's followed us all year long knows that you can watch him now and as a staff or as a fan or as a media member, you got a pretty good idea of what he's bringing to the table each and every night. And we really needed that, and we need more of that, not just from him, but hopefully for Achor moving forward. I think he's shown more athleticism, more pop, more physicality. When he drove the ball, it was straight line drives with purpose. There was no spinning and trying to change directions. And he had an exuberance about him. He had some energy on the bench. Certainly with his play helps that. But we're hopeful that this will help him going forward.
Josh and Jaden obviously have a huge scoring eye. Both guys finished with more assists than turnovers. I guess how valuable is that piece of their game as well?
Yeah, I said this same thing in the media after the game, but I haven't taken the time to look, and I'm not going to. But I just can't imagine having a duo having 65, in one basketball game, and they did it while not taking bad shots. To take that many shots, 52 shots between two players, and to say maybe there was a couple, it's pretty good, for their IQ, and they have obviously more rope maybe than some other guys, but they're handling it appropriately that way. And like for me, it's like they weren't that efficient. It's not like they shot the cover off the ball. I mean, Josh was 10 for 31. Jaden was 9 for 21. Like, it gives me hope. Like, well, man, what if they're, really get it going? When nights, like Josh did the game before when he was like 9 for 13. But, they're both high IQ players. They've been around. They've got so many games under their belt in terms of being able to understand the shots that they need to take for us to be successful. Everybody talks about roles. Well, even when you're in a role like that, like you got to be ready to go. You got to make good decisions. You got to carry the load a little bit offensively, and there's some pressure, that comes with that. But they've both proven to be good decision makers, and hopefully that will continue.
Second row left, Danny P., and then we'll slide down back to Paul.
Coach, a little bit more on Josh specifically. He had a career tying 38, I believe. And when you're sitting back and coaching him, do you know when he's getting in that kind of zone? Yeah,
you can see it. You can see he's just got a bounce to him. Certainly, everybody, a bounce to him. But he's got a little different bounce to him. And I always love when he makes one or two early, like when that ball goes through the net for him. And most people are built that way. I've coached some guys that didn't matter if they went 0 for 4, 0 for 7, they were gonna still feel good about it. But most people like to see it go through the net early, and it gives them some more confidence than they already have. But definitely coached him long enough to know when he's in one of those zones and he's got a little more pop to his game on that end of the court.
How's Sergey?
Oh, he's fine. He played.
He came back.
Came back in the game. Yeah, he just rolled his ankle and frightened him a little bit, and he was good to go.
Your thoughts on Oklahoma?
Really good basketball team. They're 1-0 as well. They're so potent on the offensive end. They got great guard play. It'll be quite the matchup with Pack and Brown out front. Again, two guys that got a ton of experience, a ton of know how to play. Both can really score the ball. They're dynamic players individually, and then you put them together. It's a lot. But it ain't just them. I mean, they're analytically, off the chart. They're top, 25 effective field goal percentage in the country. They do not turn the ball over. I think they're 4th in the country, so they're getting a shot on goal, virtually every time down the court. And they spread you out. They got multiple shooters. They got 4 or 5 guys, that got size and got confidence. And then the Wagyu kid has really developed nicely into a nice SEC 5-man that can patrol the lane, knows, what he brings to the table. I really like their team. I like what they're doing. They seem to be playing with a lot of confidence. So they're more than a handful for sure.
Sam, go ahead.
How do you just feel about the development of Quincy Ballard so far this season and where he's at in his game right now?
Yeah, if you look at Quincy's line and you don't watch the game, you're like, meh. But if you watch the game and you understand what's going on, I mean, he's wrestling down there with that kid every possession. And Vocalitis, and I apologize if I pronounce his name wrong, is a load. I mean, he is a big human being, and he's nasty. And, you know, from watching the tape, I thought Quincy stood his ground and grappled with him and gave us a rim presence. You know, the block shots are block shots, but how about guys not driving it because here you're looking at him standing at the rim or altering a shot. You're running the floor. He ran the floor a few times where it's like, wow, like I clipped it every time, you know, and because Vocalitis is such a great rim runner that he gets, you know, 2 or 3 easy baskets that way almost every game because he just outruns the other big. And I thought Quincy did a good job of competing in a lot of areas that don't show up on the stat sheet. Certainly we all want more. You know, he wants more, I want more, we want more. And he'll have games where he has, you know, bigger numbers. You know, the game before he had 15 rebounds. But, you know, you heard every coach in America talk about, you know, sometimes things don't show up in the stat sheet. And for us and Quincy on Saturday night, that was the case.
Colin, go ahead, wrap us up.
I know certainly from us, there's been a focus over the last month on not having, you know, those comfortable wins like you had to end non-conference play and a lot of close games, but having that experience and having those situations where not just Josh, but other guys have had to step up and win games for you. I mean, how much is that paying off, you think, in a win like Texas?
And rightfully so. You know, it was a great win, but it's one game. You know, it's one game, and I'm happy for our guys. It was a joyous locker room, and we needed that. And fortunately, as the coach, you know, I've been telling them that their practices have been even better since we got back from Christmas. Their hunger level was really, really good. We played our best game of the year on both sides of the ball against Alabama State, and that catapulted us into even having better practices leading into SEC play. And, I mean, everybody rises up, you know, level of play more often than not. And I was hopeful that we would do that, you know, playing on the road, first SEC game, playing a program like Texas, and we did. But again, it's one game. We got at least, you know, 18 more of these if you count the conference tournament. And we'll have a lot of great opportunities, you know, down the road, certainly with Oklahoma being the first one Wednesday night.
All right, thank you guys.
Thanks.
Thanks.